of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, no emergency revisions to the agenda. So we will move on to approval of minutes from the June 15th exec session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Eckrow, second by Mr. Working. All those in favor?
You make a note of those changes then?
Yes. And motion carries with Sam?
Dave?
Yes, and Dave absent. All right, approval of minutes for June 15th regular session.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Deardorff, second by Mrs. Eckrow. All those in favor? Motion carries. June 22nd exec session, approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Mrs. Eckrow, second by Mr. Working. All those in favor? Motion carries. Approval of claims.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Working, second by Mr. Hudson. All those in favor? Motion carries. Move on to public comment. All right. Fund monitoring.
Yeah.
So let me pop this up. So on the monitor is our financial statement for our large funds as of June 30th. June 30th is when we get property tax settlement for those funds, so this looks quite a bit different than it did in previous months. Our education fund, we definitely, the reductions we made slowed down our expenditures, but we didn't quite meet where our revenue is. We're getting closer. As you can see at the bottom of that, we were overspent by almost $61,000 this year in that fund, and are still working on making adjustments. Our funding in that fund changes July 1, and it will be based on our ADM estimates for what we will have when kids come in August. That count will be on October, so at the moment we had to submit that. We were graduating 64 seniors and had 47 kindergartners. So, we did lower that, but when that count is finalized, so we will get funding starting July 1st through December 30th based on what our fall count is. That estimate, we will get paid through October on that. When our October 1 count is finalized, if our number was low, and we'll get more money, we'll get that before December. If our number was too high, they'll take some money away from us by December. And then that number that's finalized will hold and start in January, and then February 1 we'll do a count again, and the whole thing will start over, and then we'll be paid January through June based on that second count day. So we will get lower revenue for the next few months until we figure out that that's our safety guard for us, and hoping that it's wrong. But we're hanging in there with that fund. Operations fund is one of the two that are completely tax-based. So we got property tax settlement for June and some excise money. So that fund looks a lot different than it did last month. We're just being real cautious with this fund. The projects that we've done, we're taking out of bonds, and so we can just see where this fund needs to settle. We do have a $600,000 tax anticipation warrant in this fund for cash purposes flow. So the balance looks a lot higher than it did last year, but if you take away $600,000, it's about double where we were last year. That project-based is what that is. Debt service is the other fund that is property tax revenue funded. All of our first half payments for those debts were due June 30th, and we got property tax money in June, which is the design of how that one works. So that cash ended at just right at around $269,000, $100,000 in that one. And that's comparable to last year. It's down a little bit, but those are all just based on payments. There's no extra in that. Lunch fund, it's one we've been watching real carefully, and we ended real close to where we did last year, just a little behind, which is good news. Partway through the year, they reduced a staff member in there. That helped that some, but by the end of the school year, food costs were climbing again. And so you guys approved a small increase to lunch prices, and we hope that just keeps us stable for next year. We just want to keep that level. That's our goal right now for that fund. Rainy day fund remained untouched. We spent a little bit of the 24 bond that we still hold on one of the projects that we have going this summer. and, the 25 bond that sits at the trustee bank hasn't been touched yet. And I will, share just right now, to be compliant, that we were served with a letter from the Department of Education was expected. It's a normal procedural thing, to follow some statute, but we have to publicly share that we received a notice from the Indiana Education Employment Relations Board that we did not meet the minimum salary for a full-time teacher this year. That requirement's $45,000, and our beginning teacher is $44,500. We knew that, we just weren't able to get there during bargaining, but we just have to read that publicly and note that we did.
On the, I just have a suggestion on on registration. When I was looking through cause we talk about this all the time about the school lunch, and when you're going through registration and it gets to the lunch part, you have to click on the link to see what the wages are. And I just wonder how many people just go straight past that and don't even click on the link. I don't know if there's a way for it to just be there. I don't know, but I think maybe that might help, cause if it was right, cause I bet they just click right through. I don't know how close we are.
And I think we used to do that, just put that chart in there on that screen. I think we changed a couple years ago, just because that's
It's
really
probably the way
federally.
it's set up. It's probably the way the registration's set up, and it just makes it smoother, but then you
Well-
have to click that separate link to get that to pull up, and I bet people don't.
And that chart is released federally, and a couple years ago, they got really behind in
Oh,
releasing that.
yeah.
And so we put a link just to make sure we were sharing the most up-to-date, but that's been much better, so we
Mhm.
can absolutely take a look at that.
Okay.
Those rates were
Just a
released in May,
suggestion.
so.
I bet there's a lot of people that are just clicking right
It's a
through
good
there. So, okay. All right. Old business, consideration residential addition to septic line. To be a consideration for a request from individual residents to join our septic line.
You got any more to say?
Please?
Well, first I wanna apologize for the runaround. It's been hectic.
You gotta do your due diligence, and I understand that.
I sympathize with your situation. We bought a house a couple years ago, an old farmhouse, and we got similar issues. But, we farm hogs and dairy, and we have a lot of underground lines, check valves, connections, wires. It seems like they fail. And my concern is who's liable, if that basement fills up because of we have no control over who lives in that house. Down the road, some kid could accidentally flush a toy down the toilet, plug up the main line or their line. It's just a lot of liabilities that I don't feel comfortable with putting on the school system. The 3-inch line is pretty much at capacity now, push it, cause we push at night and they push it all. Serena, do you know how much they push?
I don't, it varies some, I wanna say 250,000 gallons a day is our average through there.
Yeah.
I
Cause
know
see, it
that's
all
in the
goes at
summer.
once, and like I said, I've heard these horror stories about how somebody's basement got half full, it's not funny, half full of sewage. That's not good for anybody. Like I said, in our own situation, livestock manure, human manure, it's still
It's the
a
same
problem.
byproduct.
What can go wrong, I found out does. I'm not a pessimist, that's just the way it is, so.
Yeah, we discussed this at length pretty much, and we sympathize with your problem that you have there of not enough space, but it was hard for us to think that was a good outcome, cause we're here to think about the school system and the responsibility of what would happen down the road, and that's kind of where we led us to our decision, but I don't want you to think that we just flippantly decided that, so.
You guys took 3 months to do your due diligence and look through it, so it sounds like the answer is no, which is okay. The reality is, I don't know if I don't ask.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
I'd ask the question.
I don't blame you a bit, it's running right down through there.
Yeah, it
I
makes
don't blame you a
sense.
bit, but we need to vote on it.
Yeah,
And
well-
then the next thing is, I don't know how many houses lay along that line. But we hook up to that one, why can't we hook up to that one? Why can't we hook up to that one?
Right.
You know,
It's setting precedence that it's okay, and somebody down in the future, over the next 50 years,
Oh,
or
it
whatever,
will.
will want to do it.
it will happen, yeah, because it's, you know, a much better option if it works,
Yes.
but
Well, I'll need a motion and then.
you need a motion we vote, or you need a motion that we,
I moved to vote on the,
second?
Okay, motion by Mr. Working, second by, Mr. Deardorff. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. It's
Thanks for the
down.
consideration now.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's go to personnel. First, we're gonna go with resignations. We have quite a bit on personnel. So first with resignations, Emily Wright, paraprofessional, Chad Chamness, don't know if I said that correctly, bus driver, and Emma Wright, middle school volleyball.
so moved.
Motion by Mrs. Eckroat, second by Mr. Working. All those in favor? Motion carries. And then for higher recommendations for certified staff, we have Megan Smith, middle school, high school math teacher, Fred Fuel, middle school, high school rise room teacher, Angela Parson, elementary rise room teacher, Haley Gamble, elementary teacher. Permission to hire any new personnel that are needed prior to the August school board meeting. The board would then ratify those hires at the August meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deardorff, second by Mrs. Eckroat. All those in favor? Motion carries. All right. Non-cert staff, Veronica Chandler, elementary paraprofessional, Cheyenne Cox, maintenance tech, Chloe Webb, elementary paraprofessional, Monica Berkey, middle high rise room, and permission to hire new personnel as needed prior to the August board meeting. Board would then ratify those hires at the August meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Eckroat, second by Mr. Working. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries. Athletic hires are gonna be for Kayla Rudd, fall strength and conditioning, Zoe Sparks, assistant volleyball, Jeff Grant, assistant varsity football coach, Adam Miller, football stipend, Zane Briggs, football stipend, Kent Ireland, football stipend, PJ Thorington, football stipend, Stephanie Braun, junior class sponsor, Kirsten Stout, JV basketball, girls basketball coach, Andrew Lane, volunteer cross country, Isaac Ireland, volunteer cross country, or volunteer football, Seth Ireland, volunteer football, Nick Stuber, volunteer assistant football, Hannah Miller, volunteer assistant soccer, Caitlin Andrich, volunteer assistant soccer, Emma Wright, volunteer volleyball, Jessica Height, volunteer band assistant.
Did you repeat that?
No.
Good. So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deardorff, second by Mr. Working. All those in favor? Motion carries. All right, and then we have, quite a few items for surplus from the tech department, 45 desktop monitors.
We've read them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you read them all?
Read all
Okay.
that. Yeah.
No, and then we also, and that is, there was this, the tech department and then middle high school will do both of those for, office chairs and all that.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Eckroat, second by Mr. Working. All those in favor? Motion carries. And then recommendation to replace Wi-Fi controllers and access points with Integrity for a total cost of $127,963. This project has been approved for our new universal service federal funding allotment. We'll pay 70% of the project. North Miami will pay 30%, which is $38,388. Serena, do you have anything you wanted to add to that?
You know, this is something we've been talking about for a couple of years. Our Wi-Fi, between our switches and our Wi-Fi controller, you know, those are kind of our tech needs that are coming up towards needing to be renewed. The Universal Service Fund, or we call it E-rate a lot, is a federal program that for communication devices or things that run that communication network are eligible. Our rate is based on our free and reduced lunch rate, so right now we pay 30% and they pay 70% of those projects. We won't actually pay the difference, we'll just pay our part, and the rest of that will be paid by them. But we just wanted you guys to know that total cost. So when, Chrissy from our tech department and Integrity have been evaluating our network over the last year during that, this process, it really felt like this controller was more crucial than the switches today. That our controller can't be updated, and, we rely on that wireless network every day for all the things we do. And, so that's why it is on this list for this year. This funding, when we get a new allotment, it's good for 5 years, but you can't make any commitments until after July 1 when you get new money. So that's why this is on the list this late for a project. I think if you guys approve this, the earliest it might be able to be done is fall break, but it may end up being Christmas. And we're okay with that. We just know that this is something that we are watching.
Okay.
But, it's a good deal for us to be able to use the E-rate money for this, to be able to get this done.
And that is, the E-rate money is covering for item C too, for the servers and key switches, yes, okay. All right, we'll start with B for the Wi-Fi controller and access points.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Working, second by Mrs. Ecker, all those in favor? Motion carries. And then C, also, under the same, for the, power backups for servers and key switches.
And some of these are replacing things that we had, and some we found just as things have been failing over the last couple of years. When we get power fluctuations, and we're still trying to figure out why that happens, but we lose certain systems that are really important to us when the power flickers. And so that's just been something that Integrity has been working on as well when they've been looking through our network. And just through a series of events, we've also lost a few of the power backups that we have. So these just allow the servers or a switch, if it's the main hub coming into a building, to stay online. I don't remember, I wanna say it's an hour to an hour and a half capacity we'll have with these new ones to keep those systems up and going. So if it's a full power, at least we can get to those, shut them down properly, and we won't damage things instead of letting those go up and down, and we can keep operations running for a little bit on those. So this one's also really important to that network and just not damaging our equipment and trying to be stable.
Is there help getting the bugs out of it included in this price, or do they charge extra?
Like installation, like if things don't go well,
No, the
or?
problems, the surges,
Not in this is just on the tech side, so all this is doing is protecting equipment. The electrical side, is when we've been working with MCOR, and, that's more in Bogue's area instead of technology's area. We've met with REMC a little bit and have been talking about needing to revisit and reopen those discussions because, we trimmed some trees back. That was the last thing that we were told, that they thought we had some trees sitting on some power lines over here where those cross into our property, and so we did that. And it's been better, but we've still had a couple times this summer, so, that's the next step, is to reopen those conversations with REMC and start talking about what we need to look at.
but REMC's responsibility ends what, out here on the road?
Right, which is why we trimmed those trees, because
Oh,
we
you
know
run
those
all
lines cross.
those,
They put it in, okay, that's a whole nother
yeah.
That is another,
basket.
Yep.
But they always say it's the cheapest way to be. I don't know.
All right, I'll take a motion.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Dudor, second by Mrs. Ecker, all those in favor? Okay, motion carries. So next item, teacher sharing with McConaughey, recommendation to share a teacher with McConaughey School Corporation to facilitate IB Tech dual credit mathematics course of pre-calc and trig for a cost of $535 per student during 26-27 school year. Shared teacher contract was attached to the agenda. This would be for remote charges, or for remote courses, excuse me. And then, I don't know, Christina, you guys have anything you wanna add to this?
Yeah, with this contract, the teacher will actually come in person one day a week
Okay,
and be with our kids. And so our students will Zoom into his actual classroom that's taking place at the same time at Oconoqua.
So is this I didn't read this 100%. So this isn't a 50-50 type, we're not taking on half his salary?
No.
And nothing, I didn't see
No.
what the number was, but I wondered how they came up with 1 day here, 4 days there.
I did too.
That's seemed a little lopsided, but I didn't know how the numbers all crunched out.
I know with that agreement, it was something that we just came up with Oconoqua. The idea is that on those days, it wouldn't just be a test day that he would be coming in, it would be that extra remote practice. But I think it had to do with the schedule that he had going into this year in Oconoqua that would allow for him to travel here.
So then contractually, he is a employee of Oconoqua Schools and not North Miami, is that how this works?
Right.
So the evaluations and stuff, you won't have to do any of that with him, that'll all come from down there?
No, and I've been working really well with Oconoqua principal and their superintendent, communicating expected issues if it comes to weather delays, cancellations, our breaks, their breaks. But yeah, I wouldn't be expected to do any kind of evaluation. I'm sure he's gonna ask for feedback.
Sure. Yeah.
And
On
our,
how things are going.
and our
Mhm.
calendars line up, is there
We-
no big issues there?
There aren't any huge glaring issues. There's maybe one break that's a little bit different, but we've kind of already got a game plan on how we will facilitate that. And we will have a teacher in that room facilitating that space as that class is going on. So there's gonna be a continuum of some sort that the students will not go without. And we did something very similar to this plan, but with an Ivy Tech instructor last year. They just never came in person, and that went really well. Unfortunately, Ivy Tech was not able to facilitate that same plan going into this year, and so we had to look for another option.
So,
And the cost that in this agreement is the same as we were paying Ivy Tech.
Gotcha. I think it's a good answer.
I do too.
I hope it works.
Me too.
and I think you'll see more of that to come. I'm sure you will.
I agree, and
Do you quit looking for a math teacher?
no, we attempted
Yeah,
to
but I mean, does that go?
hire for this position. And I'll just be very transparent, we did the hiring this year for the new math position. It was the first time in a while that we had math certified
Really?
applicants.
Yeah.
Yes, and so I think in order to get that dual credit certification,
Right.
it's really gotta be, I think what we're gonna see moving forward, they're gonna have to be homegrown almost. Be invested in the corporation, and I think that's what other corporations are finding as well, as those teachers are retiring or moving into other large corporations, it's gonna be harder for the small corps
I
to get
agree
those
with
dual
you, Jeff,
credit.
and I know how Carice is. It'll be interesting to see how the data shows with math.
Yeah, I think this is a good thing. I'm anxious to,
I'm excited.
Yeah.
anxiously anticipating a good outcome from this.
Me too. Me too.
Me too.
So,
Me
what
too.
will be the role of the teacher in the classroom? Just to babysit, or is she like to?
Help communicate,
He.
facilitate, the teacher that's in that classroom is actually the new teacher that we are hiring. So building that relationship, keeping the rapport with that teacher, it's not necessarily babysitting, but holding them accountable, helping them where they can. And on that day when the teacher comes in, the teacher will either stay in there and help co-teach, but it'll be a good collaboration opportunity, but it's not gonna just be babysitting, it's ensuring that the students are doing what they're supposed to be doing. She will be the point person to help print papers off for the kids, submit documents to the teacher if need be, but I think we're gonna find a way to have all of that done, at least digitally, in Google Classroom, so there won't be too much of printing off and submitting and scanning and emailing,
And I didn't want it to sound like that was a negative,
yes,
but I just,
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think it's the future.
I think so too.
Like it or not, Stan.
How many kids?
We're older here.
How
I
many
think
kids
it's the
will
future.
take
How
advantage
far
of
are
this?
we, how close are we to Spears walking
We have,
around?
I think 16 to 17 students signed up.
That'll be
Good.
next.
Good.
What's that?
oh, you know, those spears, what do you call them, spears?
Oh, the spheres, like.
Yeah, that walk around.
Oh,
Okay, go
Calm
ahead.
down.
right.
Find the
Back to
clip.
focus.
Alright, well, let's, take a motion on the teacher sharing with
moved.
Chronicle, alright.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deardorff, second by Mr. Working, all those in favor, motion carries. Donations, Coon Cattle Farms, 300, Anonymous, 100 for football, Freeman Farms, 300 for cheer.
So,
Motion by Mrs. Eckert, second by Mr. Hudson, all those in favor? Motion carries. Fundraisers, looks like we have, the serving challenge for volleyball on August the 3rd, online donation drive for football, and then the youth 3v3 tourney for girls soccer.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Eckert, second by Mr. Working, all those in favor? Alright. Future meeting dates, Tuesday, August 18th, 2026, central office. Do I call this, do I do this before we close out? Okay. So then we're gonna go ahead and call special meeting.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
I
wait,
know,
we
we gotta
gotta-
do that at 10
After?
o'clock,
Yeah,
right?
that
At
has
10
to
o'clock,
wait until
yes,
10,
yes.
because that was what was advertised.
So I can, but we can
close this
adjourn
one.
from here and then, yep, alright, so just one more motion.
So moved.
Okay.
Motion by Mrs. Eckert, second by Mr. Deardorff, all those in favor, we are adjourned.